All right, good evening or afternoon, morning, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We will get started soon with our guest speaker for today, but before all of that, I would like to make a couple of announcements. Number one, please check just a reminder to check the announcements channel on Slack periodically for the most recent updates. So anything major, as soon as I get the information, I do post it on the announcements channel. I know many participants have been interested in starting their own channels, either for study groups or other things like resources. So if you can post I saw a couple of suggestions already, which were great. If you want to post your suggestions in the Ask Me Anything, the AMA channel, we'll take a look at those and improve them as they come along, especially now that phase one is starting and more opportunities and resources, maybe even job opportunities can be posted. It'll be nice to have different channels and study groups on there. So you can post that on the Ask Me Anything. So before we begin, Shay is going to talk about phase one, the coursework, and answer any of your questions. I know we've had a lot of questions. We're very excited to start our next phase. So I will hand it off to Shay.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. Sorry that I have to keep it audio. It's really late here. It's 1 a.m. and I just practically woke up. So sorry about that. The phase one is going to start starting today. We are going to start with a review of what we've done for the intro phase. We want to do that because the program is more than just going through the courses. It is preparing everybody for the tech world and trying to get everybody ready for jobs. So we don't want to go through just going through the program, going through the courses and doing assignment and passing and moving on. We want everybody to truly get what the course is about, what the program is about, and keep going over those concepts that are very important, which is why we are going to be doing a review for this week to make sure that if anybody has any question regarding the intro phase, you can ask the questions and we can answer those questions before we move on to the phase one of the program. The first one will kick off the core of the program, going deeper into each of those languages that you've been introduced to. It might be a bit more intense than the intro phase as expected. But again, you will have all the support that you need. You will have the tutors available during the office hours, and you'll be able to book one-on-one with them. I believe the schedule has been announced. You can also check the calendar to see, available slots for office hours. I don't know if there are any questions I need to answer regarding the intro phase or the phase one or anything at all.
I see a question. So I guess a question that we're having here is, I still have not received a response regarding an internship. Just checking to see if this would be available. I'm sorry, if you'd be able to get this approved. I'm not sure in regards to the internship question. I couldn't maybe look. I'm not sure what that question is about.
Yeah, I'm really not sure too.
Maybe you could post a little bit more about the internship question that you have. That way we can address it. I know a question I saw a lot, Shay, was reaching out to tutors. So is this what participants are supposed to do if they didn't, if they chose the both track, they should reach out to a tutor to make sure they select the track?
Yes, that's the plan. If you are not sure of the track you want to follow yet, you can reach out to any of the tutors. There are 10 people right now you can reach out to. You can check their names on the announcement channel. Reach out to them and they will be able to provide support and help you to decide on what you would be doing for the rest of the program. Unfortunately, you have to select a track. You can't do both at this time. So which is why we have to, you have to select one. And if you need help selecting, you can reach out to any of them. Also, they've been sending messages to everyone that has not selected a track just yet, asking you, if, which track you would like to do in the program. So when you get the message, you can just respond to them. Or if you don't get the message, you can reach out to any of them and they will be able to register you for one of the tracks.
Great. And just a reminder, the list of tutors was posted in the announcements channel as well, so for you to reach out to them. Another question is, I guess just confirming that this week we're just going to be doing a review of phase 1, a review of the intro course.
Yes.
And they want to know, I'm sorry, and they want to know when the new material will be provided as well.
Right. So we are going to have to manually check everyone that has applied and selected a track. We will have to check if you've completed all the required courses before you can move on to the phase 1. So we've started doing that already, and starting from tomorrow, you will start seeing the new course appear on your dashboard. But there will be no assignment to do for this week. It's just going to be for everybody to be added to the course. Once you get access to the course, you will be able to see the content for that course. But for this week, there's really no assignment for you to do yet until next week.
Okay. So starting tomorrow, you'll see new material, but it's not going to, it's just going to be a review. It's not, no assignments.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Some students have the concern about their tutor not showing up to sessions. So I know there was an issue, and maybe Shay, you can clarify a little bit more. I know there was a technical issue at one point, and then we listed tutors that are available. And now I posted the new link to schedule one-on-one sessions and tutoring sessions. Is there anything else you'd like to add on that?
Yes, so I'm sorry for that experience you've had, but if you do book a session, the tutors will show up now. We had a little issue, like she has explained already, at that period. But now if you book a session, somebody will definitely show up. And if for any reason nobody shows up, please just send me a message and I will be sure somebody attends to you immediately.
So for the assignments that we did in the intro phase, going to be graded, and will phase 1 still be 20 weeks? And does this week count as week 1 or week 0? So I can answer the intro phase is not graded. And I guess for the rest of it, does phase 1 will still be 20 weeks? And does this count as week 1 or week 0?
Yeah, it's week 1. Review is still part of the course. So this is week 1.
And it's still a 20-week course. So even though sometimes we have postponed due dates because we're trying to help as many participants as possible, we are not shortening the amount of time that the cohort is. So starting this week is the beginning of the 20 weeks for phase 1. Next question is, will we be removed from the course if we completed the assignments but receive a low grade? So again, there is no grade. I believe the whole purpose of the intro phase is just to give you an introduction to all the different aspects of being in tech, the front end, the back end, and the design. So nothing is graded. We're just looking for completion of the assignments, with the exception of the couple assignments that were that you were allowed to forgo and not do. Will we receive feedback from our assignments? That's the next question.
Yes, so for the phase 1 of the program, it is a requirement that you complete all assignments. And if you don't do any of the assignments well, you will get feedback from the tutors. They will also probably get on a call with you to explain what you didn't do right and help you to do it well. And once that is done, you will be allowed to move on to the next course or whatever comes next after that. But it is required that you complete everything that you're supposed to do for the phase 1 of the program.
Where do we access the quiz to select which track we wish to pursue? I don't believe there's a quiz. There was a survey that was sent out where you had the option to choose full stack design. And there was a third option to choose both if you were unsure of which track you wanted to do. So as long as you completed the survey, and again, if you chose the both option, then either a tutor would contact you or you can contact the tutor in order to then make a decision. Okay, let's see. A lot of us are still having technical issues with Okta and in submitting assignments. Do you anticipate the technical issues improving soon? For example, I can't log in. I get the message, user is not assigned to this application.
Oh, is that for me?
I guess that's more for the technical team that we can forward. I know I have seen your messages and I've been compiling and forwarding. I know the tech team is looking into not only the login issues, but sometimes the 504 gateway issues as well. So I know they are working to improve that. And as soon as I get any updates on that, and I will share that information with you. What exactly are we reviewing in the first week of phase 1, Jay?
We are reviewing the intro courses, trying to make sure everybody understands what we are getting into. Going over, if you selected the design track, you would go over the design intro phase courses, and you'll be able to ask questions about the design during the intro phase. If you selected the software design track, you go over all the coding courses for the intro phase. It's just a review so that everybody remembers what has been done for the intro phase. Because it's been 4 weeks, we don't want to continue without making sure you remember what has been done in the intro phase.
Okay. And from this point on, will the coursework be released consistently in like the same day of the week? I remember you did say originally Sunday, Monday is the goal for every week.
Yeah, so for the phase 1 of the program, you get access to everything at once, but you don't progress until you complete each week. I'm going to give an example. If you don't complete week 1, week 2 will not be available to you, even though it will be on Moodle and you will see it, you won't be able to open it to work on it. And completing, if you don't complete week 2, you can move on to week 3. Although everything is going to be there on Moodle, but you have to complete each week before you can progress. And some of them requires that your assignment be reviewed and accepted before you can progress also.
Okay, and when it comes to feedback or comments, that's all done through Moodle?
Yes, that's done through Moodle, or you'll get a message on Slack if it requires, or you'll be asked to book a one-on-one at your own preferred time for proper feedback, depending on what kind of assignment it is.
Okay. Again, so I will, I'm going to jot down all the questions when it comes to the technical issues, the 504 and the estimated date of when that might be resolved. And I will get back to you on the Slack team because that's something I need to forward to the tech team. Let's see. The tutors will reach out to us one by one to give us feedback about our assignments. Will it be done via Zoom?
So it will likely be through Moodle. You get a response for your submission on Moodle, but the response could be that you will be reached out to on Slack, or that you should book a one-on-one with a tutor, depending on the kind of feedback that needs to be given to you based on the assignment.
Right. If it's similar to last year, and I know Jasmine soon will be speaking to us, and I know she could attest to this as well. If it's similar to last year, we would hand in assignments that were graded, and there's like a little feedback box that's available for each assignment. And then the tutors would either give a grade or feedback. And as Shayi was saying, if you need further help, or maybe the issue is a little more complex than just a little message, then the tutors do reach out or suggest for you to do a one-on-one or a tutoring session. So I feel like it's pretty similar to that as last year. let's see. All right, so I'm going to write down again the tech questions, like what's the best browser for Moodle? And I will relay all of that to the tech team. Okay. If you did not reach the survey, I will tell you this, if you did not complete the survey, please do reach out on Slack. You can email info@reskillameriCans.org, or you can message me and I can forward that message over to the tech team, but please do reach out if you never received the survey. Okay. Will phase one include videos like the intro or live class sessions?
Yes, there will, we don't really have any live classes per se. We only have office hours where you can attend to ask questions, where the tutor can run through some concepts with you. But you'll get a lot of videos and some text content to study.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Jasmine and get her started. I'm going to, as she's speaking and sharing her information with us, I will be looking at the chat and jotting down any messages and seeing if I can answer anything there, just so we can get started. Let's see. So let me introduce you to Jasmine. She is a graduate of Reskill Americans inaugural 2021 cohort, and she's now a software engineer at JP Morgan Chase. She graduated from Marist College with a bachelor's in finance and a minor in global studies. She's a first-generation college graduate, and prior to her career change to tech, she worked in finance and education. Hi, Jasmine. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have an ex-participant or a former participant. That sounds nicer.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. I'm really excited to be here.
So Jasmine, tell us a little bit about your background before Reskill and everything that you did getting up to Reskill.
Yeah, so as Noreen introduced me, my name is Jasmine Rodriguez. I'm a Reskill American alumni. So I was part of the first cohort, graduated last year, October 2021, a little over a year now. It's really nice to see all of you here today. I see some familiar faces from my cohort. I rave about Reskill Americans all the time. I've even gotten some of my friends to join this cohort because I could not shut up about it. So my friends are here. Hi, friends. I'm a software engineer at JP Morgan Chase. And every time I say that out loud, I'm still in shock myself because I would have never dreamed of actually being able to say that. And it's so crazy how much your life can change in 1 year. But before I even continue to touch on that, I just really want to congratulate each and every one of you for taking this first step of being here, signing up for this bootcamp and trying something new. This is an amazing opportunity that all of you have been given, and I really want you to take the time to soak that in. Where else are you going to find a free bootcamp willing to help you reskill yourself and want you to change your life for the better? And I know exactly how you're feeling. I was in your shoes not that long ago. I remember listening to these town halls and being so inspired from other software engineers that I wanted to become. And I know you're probably having all sorts of emotions right now. And if you're anything like me, feeling scared, nervous, doubtful, you have that imposter syndrome, you're getting frustrated because you're not understanding things as quickly as you would like to, or you just feel like there's so many terms and information that you do not understand. The videos are so long, so loaded, there's so much information, you're entering a new field with people who know so much more than you, who have done this for so long. How are you possibly going to catch up? Just let me tell you that I have felt all of those things. I resonate with all of those things. And I really want you to know, validate those emotions and feel them. But whatever you do, let them go. let go of whatever doubtful feeling that you're having right now, because you're already on the right track to changing your life. You already learned more than, at least I hope, than when you first signed up. And that right there is already progress. So make sure you're cheering yourself on for those little baby steps, because this is already a really big accomplishment. It takes a lot of courage for you to believe in yourself and go after something that is completely out of your comfort zone. So pause and give yourself credit, because it's not easy to learn something new, let alone programming. It's an entire new language and a new way of thinking that you have to teach yourself. So you're taking on a new opportunity, and whether you have no experience, little or intermediate, you're only going to get better with more practice. And if you can learn something that it took people in this field 7 months, if you can learn something that it took people years to learn in 7 months, that says a lot about you. Okay, so I didn't know how to code a little over a year and a half ago, and now I'm a full-time software engineer at one of the largest banks in the world. So I know a lot of people like myself, and that's like the beauty of the internet and technology today. I'm a firm believer that you can learn anything, do anything that you put your mind to, and you guys are already on that track. So with that being said, all of that being said, I'm really excited to be here today. I'm really excited to speak to each and every one of you, because I really feel like I can be in your shoes and can relate to what you're going through and where you are headed. So now I can finally answer the questions of how I even got here and like my journey. I just needed to make sure you guys resonate with that, because I remember how I was feeling. And sometimes you just need those words of encouragement. So I think that for me, I've always been a STEM student. So growing up, math was the only thing I loved. It was either you have the right answer or you have the wrong answer. There is no need to explain yourself. And for my English and history people, I don't want to bash you. I appreciate history now that I've traveled, because I can understand the history when I'm in that country. But for me, I did not want to explain myself. I was just like, right or wrong. And that's all I wanted to do. So I followed that through up until college, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do in college. So I switched my major a bunch of times. I started off with accounting my first semester, and then I got all straight A's, and I was like, this is too easy for me. I don't think I can be an accountant. Not bashing anyone who pursued accounting or wants to be an accountant or knows any accountants. But for me, I was like, I cannot wake up every day and do this. So I switched my major to political science, and I had this big epiphany. I was like, I want to change the world. I can do this. I want to have an impact. I know I can do this. So I think what always led me was like, I wanted to have an impact on people, and I wanted to just change the world. And then I did that for a semester, and I was like, I don't think I can change the world. There's so much to do. I think someone else can do it. I think I'm way above my head. So my optimism like kind of shed. So I was like, okay, like how else can I change the world or have an impact? And I was like, well, money speaks. Like at the end of the day, money talks. When you really want to make a movement, like you're going to do that through finance. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to follow my left-sided brain, because I'm super analytical, and I'm going to use my strengths, and I'm going to proceed on, and I'm going to switch on to finance, because I still want to make sure I graduate in time. And luckily I was able to switch over and still graduate on time. And then that led me, this is a super tangent, but that ended up leading me to be able to study abroad in Southeast Asia, where I got to travel to over 14 countries. And when I tell you, one of the best experiences of my life, and I still try to top that trip till today. But I speak on that experience because that travel experience alone just still transfers over to my role at JP Chase now, because I've been able to connect with so many cultures and build so many relationships just because I've been able to travel the world and meet so many different people. So if you have the opportunity to travel, highly recommend. So then I graduated with my finance degree. And then upon graduation, I pursued the finance field for about a year. And I did that for a year. And again, I was like, if there's something you're going to learn about me today, is that I am really big on trying new things. And like when I don't like something, I'm like, okay, I'm trying the next thing, because I'm really big on like in your 20s, or like, at least for me, I was like, okay, I'm in my 20s and I know I'm never going to have this time to explore everything and try something new where I don't have children and I'm not in a relationship. So I'm like, I have the freedom to just try a bunch of new things. But I think despite your age, you should always keep that mindset. Like you can always begin again. So I did finance for a year and I was just getting, I think someone's mic is unmuted. I'm not sure. Okay, it's fine. So I did that for a year, and it's the teacher in me to ask, but so I did that for a year, and I was like extremely underpaid compared to other people that I was in finance with, and I was like, okay, I'm working in Metro New York City, I'm getting underpaid. I also don't really like this, and I think it was because I just didn't have the proper network to navigate my way in the finance field, because I was just so focused on like making sure I can work, because when I went to college, internships were not paid. So I couldn't have like the leverage to actually pursue a finance internship in college. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a gap year and I'm gonna try to figure out what I want to do. And then I was like, what should I do? I just finished traveling. I think I can try something new. And I was like, okay, well, I found the opportunity to go to Spain. And I was like, I'm just going to travel. I'm going to be a travel influencer. I can have an impact this way. And this was before influencing was a thing. And it was super hype and mainstream. So I was like, I think I can do this. I moved to Spain, not knowing anyone, never being in visiting Spain ever. And I was like, I'm going to do this. It's going to be great. 6 months in, I'm like, okay, I'm super homesick. This is not for me. I want to go back home. And then right before I decided to cut my contract short, so it was a year-long contract, and I was like, I cut it short like half a year. And this was like at the beginning of the pandemic. So everything was about, all the borders were about to close. And I remember I arrived and a week after Trump decided to close the borders. And I was like, oh my goodness, like I just saved myself from being overseas alone during the pandemic. Who knows how long I would have been there. And then all my family and friends are like, you better not bring COVID over here, because it was like before America had the pandemic and had COVID. And I was like, I just want to go home. So after that, I arrived and I'm like, okay, well, I still don't know what I want to do. And I'm trying to figure it out. And if you benefited from unemployment, like that was like the best time during the pandemic. So that was great. So I did unemployment for a while, and that still helped me figure out what I wanted to do. And then I just had my teacher experience. So that was the most recent experience. And I was like, okay, well, I should probably utilize this. There's a hiring freeze. There's no jobs available. The entire world is shutting down. And the only thing that kept us running was technology. That was the only way we stayed connected. Everything automatically went remote. And I was like, okay, the power of technology, if you do not see it now, then when will you ever see it? Because the world is still running only because of the internet. So I always had like this sort of passion for technology. Like I had a lot of computer science friends in college, and whenever they would code, I would look at them and I'd be like, oh my God, like, how are you getting the computer to talk to you? Like, what are you doing? Like, how is that happening? And I was fascinated and like so mind blown. And I'd be like, please explain it to me. Like, how are you coding? And they would explain it to me, obviously, in like a very high level at the time. And I still managed to comprehend it just from like a high level. And I was like, this is so cool. And I remember being like in my undergraduate, like, I should switch my major to computer science. And then I was like, no, I can't do that. Like, me, computer science, no way. And I was like, okay, well, maybe if I get a master's in computer science, like I can figure this out. So I started looking into master's programs, and of course, like it's so difficult to get a master's program in computer science when you don't have any bachelor undergraduate like experience. Like, what was I thinking? So they made it so challenging, and I think I ended up applying anyways and got rejected. But I was like, whatever, it's fine. They're missing out. So then after that, I did teaching for about a year. I was a lead math teacher in seventh. Yeah, it's so crazy. I was a lead math teacher in seventh grade for about a year, remote. And I remember just teaching, and I was like, okay, like I'm still gonna try to figure out what I want to do. And I was still like so interested in tech. I don't know what it was, but like something inside of me was like, okay, the pandemic, like something needs to, like, you have to speak to this passion, this spark that's inside of you. So I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna try a boot camp. Let me just research some boot camps. Let me see, because that's just when it started like becoming a thing, like, ooh, boot camps, you can figure out your way into tech. And I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. I started researching a bunch of boot camps, and everything was so expensive. They were like 15K, 30K. And I was like, I'm not trying to spend like 15, 30K. I just graduated like a year ago. I have so much student debt and like more debt. So then I'm like, oh my goodness, like, what am I going to do? And I was like, I was so close to actually like investing in one, because I was like, I want to do this so bad. And I really feel like it's meant for me. And then after that, I remember I was on social media, and social media is not always the best for you, but in this case, it worked out in my favor. So one of my high school friends posted on Instagram a marketing opportunity for not opportunity, but advertisement for Reskill Americans. And I remember like seeing this advertisement, and I'm just like, free boot camp? I was like, wait, hold on. There's no way. I was like, free, this is insane. Sign me up. Like, as soon as I saw free, I was like, sign me up. So I was so thrilled by this opportunity of just someone, like a program taking interest on low income people, like just the entire motive behind Reskill Americans, I just gravitated towards. And then I was like, this is amazing. I'm signing up. So that's March of 2021. And I'm still lead math teacher. And then I find Reskill Americans, and I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to get into tech. And then when I started, I was actually, you guys have an advantage, by the way, you all have an advantage, because when we were at like last year, we only had front end, back end, UX, UI designing, and that was about it. And now you all have full stack development. Like, if you understand, like, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous that you have full stack, because I did front end and I really wanted to do back end at the same time, but we just weren't able to. So again, you guys, you all have it really like good. So then I did Reskill Americans, and I was teaching. I was like 9 to 5 teaching. It was at a charter school. It was so intense. Like, the students were even on from 9 to 5 doing like 40-hour weeks with us. And then after that, I would just study all the time, like 5 to 9, making sure I did all of my assignments on the weekend, studying, making sure I was processing everything. So through Reskill Americans, on the front end track, we were able to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, a little bit of React. And all of this was just so brand new to me. I was just like, oh my goodness, like, what is HTML? What's CSS? What is an IDE? What is GitHub? And I was able to learn all of these like basic foundational skills through Reskill Americans, which was really nice. And I remember creating like my first assignment, and I was so proud of it. I was so proud of this assignment. It was the most basic static page. It was like, I think it barely even clicked. It just looked pretty. And I was like so proud of it. I took so many pictures. I was showing all my friends. I was like, look at what I did. I created this. Like, this is amazing. I can do this. And then I remember just like, that was when it really clicked for me. I was like, okay, like, this is what I enjoy about tech. I love the potential of being able to create. I love the potential that I can create something and it can impact, again, like back to the impact of people, and people can utilize this. And it's not just like on a one generational level, it's like multiple generations that can be impacted. Like, everything is tech, right? If you really think about it. So I was like, yeah, this is for me. Like, I don't care how difficult it's going to be. I don't care that I have to put in how many hours, like, I'm going to do this. So I did all the assignments, and I just kept building my portfolio. And I think one of the best parts about Reskill Americans that I really enjoyed was just like that, the project phase. So that project phase was just, I feel like even till today, was probably the most transferable skills I gained. So you all are probably going to experience this really soon in the next like few weeks, or I'm not sure how you're dividing the curriculum now, but for us, it was like month 3 and 4, we were doing project phase. Is that still the same?
So this year we have an intro phase, which we didn't have last year, just to kind of get everybody's feet a little wet on all the different tracks. And then we're going to do the skill building phase, which is the 20-week phase. We're really going to learn our skills. And then phase 2, which is our last phase, is where we're going to do the team building and the team working together. Yeah, project building.
Okay, so yeah, I get really excited for that because I enjoyed that the most. So that's when you get to like collaborate cross-functional teams. So we were paired with different developers who weren't in the similar skill set as you. I think my team consisted of like front end, there was a back end, there was a UI UX designer, and then there was a program manager. I think there was like maybe like 2 of each, like 2 front ends, 2 back ends, just so you guys can work together. So just so you all can work together. So that was so fun because I really was able to learn the entire life cycle from beginning to end of how to create a project, from given a project idea to actually designing it and watching the designer bring it to life. And then being a front end developer and seeing like, okay, like what do I need to do? Like thinking through and organizing my thoughts as a front end developer to figure out how I was going to make the design come to life, and then working with the back end, which is like actually making it work. So it's one thing to make a page look pretty, but if you can't make it functionable, it just looks pretty. And then watching the entire process, like through 1 to 2 months, being frustrated because like you can't center your image like you want to, just like the smallest things, but at the end it being super rewarding because you're able to actually complete your assignment and present to the team like what you've been working on as a team and collaborating because you are all on the same page and frustrated together, but then feeling rewarded together. So that was really cool. And then I did that up until, as I mentioned, I graduated October 2021. So I was still being a lead math teacher. And I remember I finished my year like July 2021. And I remember finishing and I was like, I think I'm going to quit my job. And I'm just like thinking to this, I would not recommend this to anyone. Like, do not take my advice. But I was like, I'm going to quit my job. I want to dedicate myself to finding a tech job. Like, I need to find a tech job. The only way I'm going to provide pressure on myself is if there is no income coming in. So I was like, I'm going to give myself 3 months. I'm going to dedicate all my time to applying to jobs and I'm going to figure this out. So I took 3 months, I ate into my savings, and I applied everywhere. And I was just like rejected, like everywhere, like you get rejected, you get rejected, you get rejected. Like everyone was just rejecting me. And I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm really optimistic, at least I try to be. But when you're just getting rejected back and back, I'm like, okay, like why? So then I was just like, okay, that's fine, no big deal. And just no one like is ready to take me. It's fine, I'm not gonna give up. So I kept applying, and then I remember it was same time, I think this time last year, I saw an opportunity again, social media coming to its advantage. So I was on LinkedIn, and I think someone from my cohort, I think his name is Edong, tagged me on this post, and it's like a JP Morgan Chase opportunity post on LinkedIn, and I'm like, okay, JP Morgan Chase, what is this about? And then I look into it and it's like opportunities to hire bootcamp graduates, 2-year program willing to upskill you and prepare you. And I'm just like, you're targeting me, like you made this for me, like you knew I was completing the boot camp and you wanted me so bad that you made this opportunity. Just kidding. But I saw this opportunity and I was like, oh my goodness, like I read the job description and I'm like, I finally can check off every single box in this job description. I've never been able to do that. It's always usually like 4 years plus for like a entry level. So I was like, I cannot believe like JP Morgan Chase is focusing on bootcamp graduates. I was like, sign me up. Now this is real, like the real studying begins. So I had quit my job, and then October came and I was like, okay, I need to find something because this is not working out. So I found a substitute position at my former middle school, and the principal at the time was my former advisor from 8th grade. And she's like, absolutely, you can work here. It's the pandemic. There's a shortage of teachers. You have teaching experience. Like, you can definitely do this, which really helped out because it was more of like a low stake teaching job. And then I was still able to focus on tech. So I would work 9 to 2, study from like 2 to 9, and like 12 hours on the weekends. And then I found out about the JP Morgan Chase opportunity. And I was like, I need to intensify my studying even more. So I started reaching out to everyone on LinkedIn, anyone who has JP Morgan Chase in there as a role. I'm like writing to them and I'm like, please tell me everything you know about like this opportunity. What stack do you use? What are you guys, just trying to get any insight I can. So then a lot of people were just mentioning that most of the stack that is used is Java, Spring Boot, as a full stack developer. So I was like, that's it, that's what I'm learning. So I started zeroing in. I went on YouTube. I took so many Udemy courses, teaching myself Java because I had only had front-end experience. So that I started studying just a bunch of Java, a bunch of Spring Boot, all lead code. I just started focusing on all these test questions. I remember, Alex, you also like recommended a Udemy course to me, like the web development one. Such a game changer that helped sharpen my skills so much. Still super thankful for that. And then I just studied and studied and studied for like 1 to 2 months. And then I remember the application opened up right before Christmas this time last year. And I was like so nervous about it because I was like, I can't mess this up. Like, this is the one shot. Like, I know it's for me, but I can't mess this up. And then I go on and I take my first round after having studied so intensely, and I feel so confident about it. I'm like, I think I did well. Like, I really think I got this. And I'm not telling anyone, like, this is such a sacred like opportunity for me. I'm just like keeping it a secret. It's like my precious little baby. And it's like during Christmas time, and I'm like, oh, this, like, I want to tell everyone, but I'm like, I cannot tell anyone until I'm like sitting at that desk at JP Morgan Chase. So the opportunity the application started in December, but we wouldn't start until April of next year, 2022, this year. So that was like almost 4 months long for the application process that like I just had to keep that all to myself. And then I applied for the first round. And then I remember just having to wait an entire month because it was the holidays. So I was like, I know, like, it's gonna be a while, like everyone's away, it's a bank. So I was like, it's fine, I was gonna be patient and just wait for it. I remember reaching out to the recruiters and being like, should we be expecting anything anytime soon? And they're like, yeah, don't worry, like end of the month, it'll be fine. We'll get back to you. I was like, okay, just like every day checking my emails. So then end of January comes, and I'm just at work studying still, because even after I applied, I was like, well, I have a 50% chance, right? Either become a finalist or I don't become a finalist, and I still have to study because I still need to find a tech job. So like for me, there was no stopping. It was like every day I was just studying intensely. So I remember I was like studying Java and like these leak codes, and then I refresh my email and I'm like, I see like an email and it says JP Morgan Chase, and I'm like, and then it's like, congratulations, you're a finalist. And I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, they want me as a finalist, all these things. And then I'm super excited and I'm like, okay, well, now I'm 50% in, but this is not the end of it. Like, now the work really begins, because now it's like, I can't be 50% in and not get it. Like, that sucks even more. So I'm like, okay, like now I need to study even more. And then, so the final round was a hackathon. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with hackathons, but if you're not, usually it's like either an all-day thing, so like 24 hours, or like a weekend, or like 12 hours, where you're just collaborating with other developers on a specific task that is given to you. And you are given that task the day of, and then you're given X amount of time to complete that task as much as you can with your other team members, and then present it. So for us, it was about 12 hours long of a hackathon where we would collaborate with other developers, which I going back to what I said about the team phase, like that is going to be so helpful, because that one experience in Reskill Americans really helped me at the hackathon, because I had never been to a hackathon before. I didn't even know what a hackathon was prior to hearing about it as a finalist. So I'm like, okay, like I've done this before. I've been in a cross-functional team. I'm going to go in as a front-end developer. I'm going to work with hopefully another back-end developer, and I'm going to give it my best. And then from there, I remember it like it was yesterday. So it's like mid-February, and it was so precious to me. I legitimately like rented a hotel. Like I was like, I cannot be with my mom and my little sister for 12 hours in silence. Like there is no way that's gonna happen. So I was living with my mom at the time and my little sister, and I was like, they're not gonna let me code for 12 hours. Like that's just not gonna happen. So I like rent this hotel in New York City. I got like the best views. I was like, I'm going all out. I'm manifesting this job. Like I'm going to code and wake up in the morning and look at the New York City skyline, and I'm going to manifest this job, because I'm such a big believer of like manifestation, and like your thoughts are so important, and like where you put your energy is so important. So I was like, there is nothing around me that is not going to be positive right now. So I like book a hotel, and it's like super silent. And I can finally focus. And then I do the hackathon for 12 hours straight, 12 hours straight, like coding. I've never done that prior to that experience. I mean, I had been building my stamina up, right, with my studying and everything. But when you're under pressure that way, it was an experience. If you can apply for a hackathon, I highly recommend it. I think it's great to network. I think it's great just as a developer to like test yourself, just like under pressure. So after that experience, then like you have to wait more. You have to wait like about 2 weeks. They're like, okay, great job, everyone. The next 2 weeks, he will respond to you with an offer. And I'm like, 2 more weeks? I've been waiting like 3 months. Of course I'll wait 2 more weeks for you. So then after that, I remember, so everyone networked at the hackathon. So everyone was sharing their LinkedIns, which was really nice. So the first week comes, and you just see so many people on LinkedIn posting their offers. They're like, I got an offer from JP Morgan Chase. I got an offer from JP Morgan Chase. And I'm just sitting there, and it's like day 3. And I'm like refreshing my inbox, and I'm like, okay, hopefully my offer will come too. And then it's like day 4, still no email. Day 5, it's like the end of the first week. It felt like everyone had posted about their offer at that time. And I remember just like waiting for like my offer, and it was like, I think like noon, and I'm still at my job, and I'm just like, I guess I didn't get it. Like, I guess, and I'm still trying to remain my little optimism. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like everyone did it. So I was like, what can I do? I was like, I'm going to, because I didn't get to, my team and I, we didn't finish our project, but we came really close. And I was like, I'm going to finish my project all on my own. I'm going to finish it this weekend. I'm going to submit it to them. I'm going to show them that like they need to have me. And then I remember it was like 12 p.m. I remember the time. And I get a call, and it's from my recruiter, and she's like, hey, Jasmine. And I'm like, hello, and almost in tears. So I like walked to like the staircase of my former middle school. So it's like 12-year-old me would just be so proud right now, like imagining me on a call with JP Morgan. And then my recruiter's like, yeah, so we think like, etc. And we want to offer you a position. And I'm just like yelling, like silently, of course, like going crazy. And then I'm like, of course. And then the conversation ends, and I'm just like yelling, jumping up and down, like almost in tears, like in the hallway, because it's really funny, because I applied to JP Morgan Chase with my finance degree back upon when I graduated college. Of course, like as a finance degree, you usually go for like the big 4s, you go for JP, PwC, etc. So I had applied, and I got rejected like multiple times from JP Morgan Chase for finance department. And it's funny how things work out, because I'm religious. So I was like, God was legitimately like, this is not it for you. Like, I have something better. Don't worry. Just be a little bit more patient. Like, that's not where I want you to be. So I like that worked out. And then of course I like accepted the offer. And then I had to wait another month, because I had to wait another month because they had to like go through all this background check, and then we finally begin like end of April. So I think I went on a huge tangent on your first question about why I went into tech, but in lump sum, that was my journey to like where I am today.
Jasmine, I loved it. I love the whole story. I think you answered every question I was going to ask you, so it was great. And I love hearing, I just love seeing a participant when we were all together, and I love following people's success stories. You really hit it on the head with the teamwork, the building, the team phase. I've met some I feel are going to be some lifelong friends, working together with people I normally probably would never have connected with because we're all over the country. And now I have, shout out to Pia, we text each other all the time. We're like updating each other on our successes, helping each other out. I have a thing for proofreading, and I was looking at everybody's portfolios, making sure, it's just such a camaraderie with everything. So I love hearing your experience with that as well.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's been a journey for sure. I think overall, so the way the program works, it is 2 years, and luckily the first month, they train you. So I was like remote for the first month. And it's like you're virtually with other developers that were hired. So my cohort, I believe, was about 195 people throughout the entire country. So we're all going to this like really intense month training on Zoom together, like 9 to 5. And then we're just learning all the basic technologies of JP Morgan Chase, because obviously we're all coming from completely different boot camps, but we all learn different things in the boot camp. So they really wanted to provide a foundation, just focusing on like JP Morgan Chase technologies and making sure everyone at least enters their team after that first month on the same page. So that was like extremely helpful, just that in itself. And then yeah, I believe that there's still more cohorts planning to be hired. So if you have the opportunity and you are all eligible now, like highly recommend taking advantage of this program, because when I tell you, like, I've never been part of, like, I'm generally a very proud JP Morgan Chase employee, but just because of like the environment and just the workplace, and my team is just like so supportive. Everyone knows since that you are a bootcamp graduate, and like you don't have that traditional background, and just willing to help you, like want you to win. And so inclusive. I think that's like the one thing that I really admire about JP Morgan Chase. Like during the virtual 1 month, the first few sessions that we have is just focusing on inclusiveness and making sure you show up every day as your whole self, making sure you show up every day as how you self-identify, and whatever that is for you, just making sure that you feel accepted. And just like for an organization so large like JP Morgan Chase, to focus on those smaller details about a person, I feel like just made a huge difference. And like the prior positions that I've worked in.
No, that's great. Yeah. And you mentioned your portfolio. We only have a couple minutes left, so I want to kind of squeeze in some questions, but you mentioned your portfolio. How did you start off with your portfolio? What was the final product when you started applying to places?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you still have Teddy at the program, but he was so helpful last year. He sat down with me and helped me edit my resume, and really just put everything together for me on my resume aspect. And then my portfolio, I really utilized the projects and the assignments that I did at Reskill Americans, and that was most of my portfolio. I should have done more things, but at JP Morgan, they allowed you to attach your GitHub link, but what they really cared about was just like your people skills and if you knew how to code and like the technical aspect of it. So satisfying that in the hackathon and during the first round was key, thankfully, for me.
Oh, I was curious. What was your hackathon project?
I don't know if I can share that.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
sure if they like utilize idea, but I can ask and get back to you just in case.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not sure I can share
Yeah,
that.
that's cool. And I just want to say that was an amazing story. We were prepared to ask all kinds of questions, but you just hit everything, perfectly. And I think that encouragement was just motivating for a lot of people. So thank you for sharing your story.
And I think I definitely want to leave it on like the most important takeaways, like what can you all like work on to help you become a better software engineer and pioneer yourselves into the workforce. I think what I wish I would have done more on is while you're watching these videos and they may seem like super loaded and you're confused about them and you're reaching out to a tutor and they're not getting back to you as quickly or like whatever the scenario may be, I think definitely take it up on yourself to like reach out and like do some research and figure out what it is that you don't understand. I didn't do that enough. Like I remember being confused about, let's say, for example, like hash maps, right? And then just waiting, like just reviewing other videos. I would recommend like going on YouTube. Whenever you're confused about something, YouTube is there for you. Like search up. It's sometimes it's just about like getting the right person to explain it to you the right way. So you can have like 10 different people explain something, but you just need that one person to word it in a way that you can understand. So that's where YouTube comes in handy, right? Utilizing your resources, utilizing the internet to just dig deeper on whatever it is that you're learning. And definitely on your downtime, like just watch people code on YouTube. Like that was really helpful for me because even if you're not really understanding what they're doing at the beginning, eventually the more times you watch these videos, your brain starts processing like the structure and just like how to actually get the flow going. And just do your research as much as you can, build as much projects as you can, and collaborate with each other. Like you are all here together. The one thing that I benefited from was like my support system, because we're all going through things together, and what I may not have gained from a video, like another person can. So definitely make sure that you are like, if you are like near each other in a certain region, go on coffee dates, like do whatever you can to just like make the most out of this experience. And yeah, practice leak code questions because those come in.
Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of getting different resources and listening to the same things from different people. Because like you said, one person might explain it in a way that just makes it click for you, whereas before you thought it was something you couldn't understand. And Udemy, like we talked about earlier, is a great resource in addition to YouTube. And I know that Udemy always has sales. So if you see a course on Udemy and it's like $100, I promise you, wait a week or two and it'll be on sale for like $10. So there's a lot of great stuff on there as well.
Yeah, I also don't mind like staying back and answering questions. Like I know I went over a lot, so we all have questions here. I'm here to answer them.
I have a question as far as you seemed very busy through Reskill, after Reskill, through JP Morgan. Just can you give our participants maybe a little bit of a time, like during Reskill, like how much time did you spend approximately a week? We know we always recommend a minimum of 15 hours, but I'm sure there's times, I know for myself, there was times I spent all day working on something or learning about something I didn't know and then trying to implement that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think to begin with, like you make time for what you want, okay? Like if you really care about this and you really want to be a software engineer and you really want to be a whatever it is that you are striving for, you make time for it. So for me, like again, like I was working 9 to 5, like 5 to 9, like completing assignments. And then on the weekends, I really utilize that. But of course, like everyone's time crunch is different. So I would say like plan out your weeks. Like that's what I did. Like if I knew something was coming up, I usually plan like on a Sunday for like everything I have going on that week, and then time box everything I need to, all the time I can dedicate to studying. So I would recommend like just plan, like being the best you can at time management and planning ahead if you know you're going to have a busy week, but definitely minimum 15 hours. Yeah, I spend so many hours just like anytime I can, like I was just
and what are your study habits? You know, you mentioned a lot of things that you did. So how did you, like, you know, what are your study habits? How did you break it down? Did you have a system, or are you just naturally gifted at like watching a YouTube video and letting it all soak in?
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out my learning style, because I think initially what I was doing, which I do not recommend, would be like watching all like hour-long videos and just like taking notes on it. I'm really big on like pen and paper still, so I was just taking a bunch of notes on my paper. Eventually I have translated electronically because it just has been much more helpful. But I realized that that didn't really stick for me. What really does stick for me is like watching a project and then applying it at the same time. So coding along with something, I get way more out of that than just like trying to take down all the notes of every single sentence that this instructor is trying to tell me. So I think I would recommend code along as much as possible when you are retaining information. And then after, what I another really good tip I would give is, if you ever watch a video or after like the first week, I keep like notes of like summarizing them in my own words of what I just took away from this video, even if that's like bullet points or anything, so that I know, okay, like this is what I learned from this video. And if I ever have to reference back this topic, I can, because I have everything written down and I don't have to go and do more research on it later on. So just creating those, like, if you can explain it to someone else, that means you really learned something. So that was my way of doing that, like summarizing like any chapter, topic, or video that I saw, and then coding along would be my 2 tips.
Yeah, the tips on not taking notes, I kind of started that way too, where I would watch a 30-minute video and spend 2 hours taking notes just on that video. And then I was like, this is not sustainable, because you also don't know exactly what you should be writing notes for. So you kind of just have a tendency to make notes way too detailed, and it just becomes too overwhelming. I think a lot of these things, just as you start coding and continue to practice, these things just start, cementing themselves in your brain eventually. And, as you continue building projects, you'll realize that you don't really need those notes as much as you do, but doing those summaries, I think, is a great idea too.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think I started off the same way. I was just like, watch a video, pause, write a note, and at the end of it, I'm like, I'm pretty much transcribing the whole video because I don't know what I need to save. So I think that's, a nice newbie mistake, and we're excited and we want to learn everything. But I agree, coding along or practicing. For my part in the design track, I was on Figma a lot. I was just playing with Figma, looking at the buttons, trying to copy another website or a mobile landing page, and just, practice makes perfect, as they say. But yeah, Jasmine, you are amazing. Thank you so much. I feel invigorated, and I know our participants are very motivated from hearing your experience and being able to land a job at such a wonderful company. So yeah, it's great. Thank you so much again for being a valuable resource for today and helping our participants.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really, really enjoyed being here. I also dropped my LinkedIn inside of the chat. So if anyone wants to connect or has any other questions that I wasn't able to get to today, like, feel free. I'm an open book. You can connect with me and reach out.
Oh, thank you. I'll post Jasmine's information, her LinkedIn information, on Slack as well, in case you miss it from here. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for participating or for attending our town hall. I'm glad we were able to answer lots of questions, both on phase 1 and what to expect in Reskill and what to look forward to. Have a wonderful evening, night, afternoon for everyone. Thank you.